3 historic encounters with vampires. I'm Kiffany Jean. Carmilla was the original lesbian vampire. She's featured in a gothic horror novel of the same name, written in 1871 by Joseph Le Fanu. The story follows Laura, a lonely young woman who lives in a castle with her father. One day, a carriage brings an injured girl named Carmilla to the castle door. The two become fast friends, even though Carmilla's flirty playfulness makes Laura feel bashful. Laura soon discovers that Carmilla has a habit of sleepwalking at night. Not long after Carmilla's arrival, girls in the village begin to die of a mysterious illness. Over 2 decades later, Bram Stoker would use Carmilla as his inspiration for Dracula. The amount of similarities between the two books are alarming. Dracula's vampire hunter, Dr. Van Helsing, resembles Carmilla's vampire hunter, Baron Vordenburg. Dracula feeds on his victims in the same way that Carmilla does. They both enter their victims' bedchambers to drain their blood a little each night. Their victims become weaker and weaker, unsure of why they are sick. Lucy, the girl whom Dracula turns into a vampire, bears a striking resemblance to Carmilla. They are similar both in appearance and their free-spirited behavior. They even have the same sleepwalking condition. The two stories even originally took place in the same setting until Stoker changed his draft later. The inspiration is even more noticeable if you read Stoker's short story prequel, Dracula's Guest. Elizabeth Bathory. Elizabeth Bathory is perhaps the most famous vampire in history after Vlad the Impaler. But while Vlad wasn't really a blood-sucking vampire, merely the inspiration for one, Elizabeth Bathory may have actually fed on and bathed in blood. She was a Romanian countess in the 16th century who found joy in torturing peasants. The torture ranged from simple beatings and stabbings to piercing fingers and lips with iron nails, or dousing them in freezing cold water and letting them die in the snow. Rumors that Elizabeth was a vampire began when it was alleged that she bathed in the blood of young maidens. It is reported that she began this to reduce the effects of aging, though some historians refute this claim as being added to the story after the fact. Eventually, Bathory was walled inside of her castle alive, with only enough space for her to receive air and food until she died years later. The Gorbals Vampire. This tale started with a rumor that a vampire with iron teeth was at the Gorbals graveyard in Glasgow, Scotland. The vampire had apparently taken 2 children. Within a few hours, the graveyard was full of children with makeshift weapons like sticks and knives hunting for the vampire. Authorities blamed the occurrence on hysteria and the influence of American comics like Tales from the Crypt. But it's been pointed out since that there were no comics from this period featuring vampires with iron teeth. Was there some truth to the iron-toothed vampire prowling the graveyard at night and feeding on children? Was the vampire imaginary? Or had it just been scared off by the sight of dozens of armed children, excited by the prospect of beating it and stabbing it back to hell? I'm Kiffany Jean. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like and subscribe.